if you are nervous and bunched up while you're cooking, guess how your food is going to react? But if you feel the joy, if you feel the love, if you feel the guess how your food is going to taste, right? That's the thing right there. All right, so I have 1 pound of flour. All right, we're making a nice big hole, a nice big well. So I'm going to add 4, thank you. I'm going to add 4 whole eggs and 1 yolk. I find that this is a good sort of place to start with pasta. Now, the thing about pasta, and anytime you're working with anything with flour in it, it's temperamental. That's maybe why I like it. But, so, you know, Chef Kay and I could be making a pound of pasta right next to each other. My pasta dough might need a little bit more water, or it might need a little bit more flour. His might be dry and nervous. It is flour from one batch to another, just reacts the way it wants to. It has to do also with the humidity in the air and whatever, but it's about the feel. Again, remember, pasta is always about what you do with these. So, all right, so I have 4 whole eggs, 1 yolk, a big fat sprinkle of salt, some olive oil. All right, we'll start there. And we're just gonna start making our dough. So, right now, I am just sort of beating my eggs. I'm not worrying about the mess that I made. All right, we get our eggs all beaten together, and then we start to go around the outside, and we start to flick that flour in. Flick the flour in, flick the flour in, right? Hi, everybody. Everyone is very, very quiet. All right, so, and comments are welcome too. Anybody would like to ask me or say anything?
Happy birthday, Riley!
Excuse me? What was that?
Happy birthday, Riley!
Happy birthday, Riley. Who the hell is Riley? There you go, you've gotten your 2 minutes, come on. All right, so we're just mixing the eggs around and we're getting flour in so that by the time we start getting all this together, our eggs aren't running all over the table. So this is why you want a nice big well. I've seen people try to make pasta dough with a little teeny tiny well and they start mixing their eggs and then they're kind of like trying to chase them everywhere. That's a worst cooks in America move and it's quite delightful to watch. I mean, you know, I've got to be able to laugh at these people somehow. All right, so now we are just really working on combining all of the situation here. We're not kneading yet, but when I'm going to talk about kneading our pasta, we talk about you need to knead. It's really, truly important. It's what makes a toothsome dough. So, I mean, a lot of times you hear people when they order pasta and they're like, oh, I would like my pasta al dente, please. Al dente means on the tooth. So that's what you get from making dry pasta, which, spaghetti, something like that. Pasta that you would buy somewhere that's already dry. Now, people are like, oh, is dry pasta bad? No, absolutely not. There are certain dishes that call for dry pasta, in my opinion, certain dishes that call for fresh pasta. But when you're talking about al dente, you cannot make fresh pasta al dente because it's never been hard. So it's got to have that little sort of, al dente is from dry pasta, that little sort of nugget in the center of the pasta that still has a little bit of a bite. But when we're talking in the world of fresh pasta, nobody wants a limp noodle, right? I mean, we still want a toothsome pasta. So that's kneading, and that's where we're going to develop, I'm going to say the G word, we want to develop the gluten. Sorry. So, now, I'm looking at my pasta dough right now, and I'm feeling it, and I'm like, all right, all of this pasta, or all of this flour that's going on in here really needs to be in my dough. My dough right now is dry, it's crumbly, and it's what I call a little bit nervous. So, this is definitely going to need a little bit of water. So we're going to add just a few drops at a time, and then we're going to carry on. So right now, I'm not even kneading yet, I'm still just combining. So when we get ready to knead, I'll let you know. All right. So, I mean, I can be talking about pasta till from now until next week, I don't know, I could tell you my story of my CIA experience, which I will have to say, I loved every single minute of being a student here. I mean, it was, I will tell you, in grade school, after I learned how to read in first grade, I don't ever remember paying attention in school again. Grade school, high school, 4 years of college, I didn't care about school. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life. And when I was a junior in college, I got a job waitressing because I wanted to buy a car. You know, pretty typical. All right, so wait, hang on 1 second before I'm gonna push pause on that story for a second. So look at, my dough has come together now. Now, this is where we need to knead. And this is where things get interesting. So it's about like this. You really want to mount your pasta. You really want to get in there.
Take another drink.
Chin chin.
Cheers.
Jelly? Okay. So, but when I'm saying you really want to mount your pasta, it's like this. You want to put your weight on the pasta and stretch and roll that dough. You don't want to slide it across because you don't want to tear this, because if you tear it, what you are doing is ripping the strands of gluten rather than stretching them. And by stretching those strands of gluten is how we get a tubesome noodle. So, how do we know when our pasta dough is ready? You gotta just feel it. And I have to say, the old Italian ladies in Italy, they say, you knead it till your loins sweat. I'm just repeating it. I mean, usually I think these days I can do it a lot faster than that. Anywho, all right, so it's about like this. With the heels of your hands, you stretch that dough. You roll it and stretch it. And then I kind of say, see how it gets longer like this? You fold it on top of itself, and then you really stretch it. And you get in there and you stretch that gluten. Stretch that gluten, really. It is. Just think, remember what I said back to that food is like a dog thing. How do you think this is gonna taste? This is gonna taste great. All right, sorry. Not sorry at all. Okay. Is this okay? Am I going to get in trouble? Should we have a drink, do you think? Okay. Here you go, Sean. Cheers. Okay, so I'm kneading and I'm kneading, and so we see, like, my dough is starting to kind of become a little bit supple. When this dough is ready, you want it to be as smooth and supple as, like, if you're a chick, how your cheek is. You really want it to be as smooth as, and I'm showing my age here, I know a lot, but does anyone remember, everyone's probably way too young for this, but you're like, what is she going to say now? No, but does anyone remember Cabbage Patch dolls? You know, like, so, you know, like how the creamy heads look, you know, like that little smooth sort of like, that's about this size and texture of a pound